What is happening, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to K8MRD Radio Stuff. My name is Mike, and you are watching Mailbag Monday, number 23. 23. Interesting little fact about the number 23 that a lot of people don't know. Basketball player Michael Jordan used the number 23. Now you know. Guys, thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to have your question answered, shoot me an email, k8mrd@icloud.com. And in the subject, just put Mailbag Monday. And that way I will see your email above all of the other emails that I get. So let's dive right in. We got more. You know, I say these are good questions every episode. Let's say these are really bad questions. We have just awful, horrible questions. Why would anybody ask these? Well, we're going to we're going to answer them anyway. No, they're really not. But this one's one we've touched on a little bit, but let's talk about it again. This viewer's writing, I'm looking to build a QRP portable kit for light, portable, and POTA. Right there with you, buddy. I've seen a bunch of your videos about Messi and Poloni cables and wondering which model in their lineup you'd use for light, portable POTA for an HF QRP station. Hyperflex 5, Ultraflex 7, something else. So, great question. And unfortunately, the answer to your question is not Messi and Poloni. They just don't make a cable that's really small and lightweight for portable, like QRP, like what you're talking about. Very compact, lightweight, all that stuff. I've talked to Stefano Messi. He said, make us an RG316 version of Messi and Poloni, but I imagine that probably costs a lot of money to get all the machines and stuff, whatever you need to do to use to make coax. So I do not use Messi and Poloni for my QRP activations. What I use is RG316. Now you can pick this up. I get this stuff from Pactena. He sells it in rolls in lengths of like 20 feet or something. This is one of them. I mean, this is 20 feet of coax right here. So, and the great thing about RG316, this stuff is rated a lot better than like the, RG174. Very similar size. For power handling and losses in the cable, the RG316 is gonna beat it out a bit. So I like to carry this, and if you want to push like 1,500 watts through this, you can, although you won't be QRP anymore. So I use this a lot. I mean, here's a 50-foot roll. I mean, it's so small and compact. I can't see using anything else for the QRP outings. Like, yes, I have Hyperflex 5, but that's still very similar in size to RG8X. You're not going to roll that up and stuff it in a, like, there's my G90 Go box behind me, or some of the, those Carhartt lunch bag things that I put, like my 705 or my X5105 in. You're just not fitting that size cable in there. So the RG316, hands down, is in my opinion the best coax for those type of lightweight portable operations. So I hope that helps. Good question, and I hope to catch you on the air. Get out there and do some POTA. Thanks for writing in. Next question involves solar charge controllers. This viewer's writing in, I'm in the planning stages of another battery box because why not? Yes, I understand. I built that battery box just for that cooler. Because it's a disease. So I get it. My first one has a Bioenno battery, panel, and charge controller, and I'm very satisfied with them, as you should be. I've seen a number of very positive reviews on the Buddipole Power Mini 2. It looks great, it's smaller and lighter, but it's 3 times the price of the Bioenno. Do you have both the Power Mini as well as the Bioenno controller? And if so, could you do a comparison? Yes and yes. Not a real apples-to-apples comparison, but let's take a look at it. So first, let's look at this Bioenno charge controller. This is my charge controller. It's what's inside Big Geek right there, and it does a fantastic job. Now, notice this is basically what it's going to do is it's going to charge your battery, and it's going to show you the voltage of the battery, and that little battery indicator on the screen there will kind of flash as it gets closer to charge, and will stay solid when it's charged. You don't really get any information out of it as far as like how much current you're getting in. That's why I have the meters on my boxes, so I can monitor my current usage and whatnot. But as a charge controller, it's absolutely fantastic. The Buddipole Power Mini 2 This is what I put inside of what I'm calling Medium Geek. I didn't put any meters or anything on it. I literally just quickly built that box so I could use it for my 12-volt cooler. And I had the Power Mini 2 lying around, so I put it inside here. Now, number one, the Power Mini 2 you can't get right now; they're out of stock. So at the time of this, at the time of filming this video, but assuming both of these are available, yes, in terms of cost, the Bioenno is like $50, the one that I have, and the Buddipole is about $150. So there's a considerable difference in terms of price. Now, as far as charge controllers, they're both exactly the same. They're both going to charge your lithium iron phosphate batteries. They can both charge different chemistries. In the Bioenno, if you have a lead acid for some reason, you can go in that and change the settings as you can with the Power Mini 2. Now, where the Power Mini 2 really shines is in its metering. As you can see, on the left we have battery, on the right we have solar. This takes place of what I have, say, inside my G90 Go box back there that I can't point to because I'm backwards, that thing. I've got 2 meters in there, one to monitor my current consumption and one to monitor my current input. The Power Mini 2 does that. So when we're looking at the battery side, you see 13.31 volts and you see 0.02 amps and 0.0 amp hours. So this is going to monitor your voltage. It's going to monitor your current that you're using right now. So like if I had the 891 plugged in, it would just show 1 amp because it just draws 1 amp, right? But then it would total your amp hours until you unplug it. Once you unplug it, all this is gone. But you can see your current consumption in terms of amps that you're currently using and in amp hours that you've used over time. On the right-hand side, under solar, if I had a solar panel plugged into this, it would show the voltage of the panel. It would show the amps that are coming in. So like if I had a 100 watt panel plugged in, you'd see about 5 amps in a good sunny day, right? And then again, your total accumulated amp hours. So you can see, okay, on the left side, I've used 10 amp hours and I've gained 11 amp hours, whatever. You know, I've gained 10. So you're basically, you know, a wash, or you can see whatever deficit you would have from your battery versus what you've brought in. So it's a very, very handy device, very easy they're both very easy to wire. The Buddipole Power Mini 2 has power poles already built in, and on the top left is where you would connect it to the battery. The bottom left is where you connect the solar panel, and then on the right side you have 2 load outputs. And there's not a lot of documentation. What a little bit I have found suggests that there's 16 amp outputs that could be each. I don't know if that means 32 amps total that you could pull off of either one, or if it's split. I don't really know. I've not had any problems running 100 watts with my 7300 in the field, I'll tell you that. So it's a heck of a controller. It does do a bit more chemistries, I think, than the Bioenno. That select button shows you different options. I honestly don't use it much. That's the screen I keep it on because that's all I really care about. They both do have USB outputs on them. I did bury mine. It's on the Bioenno. There's a USB, basically like on the top side, like above the 13.2 that I don't use because my battery box has USB. But they both do have USB, so in that regard, they're the same. But I like them both. You know, if you want all the monitoring and stuff, and you don't want to use external meters and all that, the Buddipole Power Mini 2 is definitely the way to go. If you just want a more simple charge controller and you'll do monitoring with whatever type of inline watt meter or, you know, built-in battery box meter you have, the Bioenno is fantastic. So I recommend both of them. I own both of them. I like both of them. They both have different uses in terms of, you know, again, they're going to charge the battery the same, but different uses in terms of monitoring and whatnot. So that's a tough question. I wish to God the Buddipole Power Mini 2 was available right now. I think it's a chip problem, just like every other electronic bit of kit in the world right now. But I know they are working on getting more, so hopefully we'll see more of them in the future. And if you can hold out, definitely get the Power Mini 2. But at like $50, the Bioenno is absolutely fantastic. So I recommend either one. So anyway, I can go on and on and on and on and on and on, but we'll leave it at that. So great question, and thank you so much for writing it. I do appreciate it. This next one, we're going to take a little bit of a history lesson. This viewer is writing, I've gotten into POTA in part thanks to your energy around the topic and would like to know about proper call sign usage. When studying for my exam, I remember learning that you should put a stroke P after your call sign when you're running portable. While it's obvious that you're portable when you're activating a park, why don't we use stroke P when activating? So it's kind of a simple answer. There was a lot of things that the FCC required us to do in years of past that they've simply dropped. So, for example, and I don't know the years. So if I would travel from Michigan to Texas under the old rules, I would have to say K8MRD stroke 5 because I was in 5 land. Or if I'm in Florida, K8MRD stroke 4. Or California, God forbid, K8MRD stroke 6. That'll probably never happen. But the FCC dropped that requirement. Same thing with the stroke P for portable, stroke M for mobile. It's just not required. Some countries it might be. Callum, I asked some of my friends in the Discord, and Callum from DX Commander chimed in. And in England, you don't have to do that anymore either. So really, the only reasons that I would guessing here now that folks do that now, one, tradition. They could be an older ham, and if they're a 5 call and they're in 4 land now, it might just be tradition for them to say whatever stroke 4. I will tell you, though, sometimes being on the receiving end of a pileup, like K8MRD stroke QRP, the QRP guys that'll throw QRP out at the end of their call, sometimes that does get my attention. So there is that, or just, a stroke portable, or when I hear mobile stations just saying mobile after their call sign, it does or can grab your attention. So you can use it as a way to kind of bust the pile up if you're not under optimal operating conditions, or your QRP, or you're using some type of compromised antenna or something like that. It's a way to get in and do that. So that's my understanding of it. If there's any experts out there, throw your comments down. I would like to know. I did a bit of research on this. There's not a lot that I could find on the internet machine without opening the textbooks, which I really didn't feel like doing. But that's kind of my understanding. But if anybody else has any more input into this question, leave them in the comments. I'd love to read about it. So cool. Yeah, great question. And I hope to catch you on the air, and hope you do a lot of parks on the air. All right, this last question is a long one, like TLDR, right? Look at this thing. But anyway, so the gist of it is the guy's got a bunch of K6ARK kits that has yet to be built, okay? And he's scratching his head trying to figure out which configuration will work the best for him. He's also concerned about wire gauge. So his understanding is that a dipole is a single band, good efficiency, no tuner, 3 points of contact need to get on the air. Yes. NFET half-wave, select bands possible depending on length, good efficiency, no tuner, easier to get on the air. Also, yes. Random wire equals multi-band operation based on length, tuner necessary, decreased efficiency, can be shorter than the NFET half-wave for the same low band in design. So let's touch on those real quick. And this is very, very subjective. But going down to 2 alpha, your main focus is on regional communications, and you also talk about 40 and 20. So you've got a lot going on in this question. So you really need to figure out, well, first off, you have 4 antennas, so I'm going to say build all 4. But they all have their own purposes, and that's why so many of us have so many different antennas, because there is no one answer, okay? So if you have 4 antennas, I would say build 4 different antennas. So, for example, here is the K6ARK. This is the 20-watt version, and I asked Adam to actually build this one for me, and he was kind enough to. This I wanted as a 9-to-1. I wanted a random wire so I could put it in my G90 Go box because the G90 has an incredible tuner, and I can get every band with this. Okay. The sacrifice is I do lose some efficiency because I need the tuner, but because this is SMA, I can, and the way I design my G90 Go box, I can plug this almost directly into the radio. I have a little like 6-inch jumper, so there's almost zero coax loss. It's just radio into antenna. So that's why I wanted this. And very easy to set up. Connect it to the radio, run it up a mast, and lean it into a tree, or throw a rope over a tree, something. However you want to get it up, you get it up, okay? Here's the K6ARK end-fed half-wave that I built. This is the 49-to-1, and this is cut for 40 meters, so I get 40, 20, 15, and 10. And it works great. This is the QRP version, so, 10-ish watts-ish, and it works great. The end-fed half-waves... The end-fed half-wave and the 9-to-1 are going to be the easiest to set up, okay? But there's something about a dipole. Now, when I first started going portable, a dipole was the first antenna that I used. I made the patented KG6HQD speaker wire antenna. He invented it. It never existed before him, so don't look in your history books. And it worked great. The only losses you're really going to have are in your coax. It's a resonant antenna. And they're relatively easy to set up. Yes, you do need 3 points of contact to set it up, but your losses are going to be very minimal. And they're very effective. So is an end-fed half-wave, though. Honestly, all of these antennas I've had great success with. Great success. So, you can... This is a very, very deep rabbit hole to go down. My advice, build one of each. Take them out, deploy them, do what works for you. I got on the end-fed half-wave kick a few years back, and I really haven't looked back. And I started off with dipoles, solely because of the ease of setting up the antenna. Out of these 3 antennas, for what you're looking to do, I would say probably dipole first, end-fed half-wave second, and random wire third, because you're looking for NVIS. Although with that 160-foot antenna or 148-foot antenna, the end-fed might be easier to set up, honestly. So, getting 148 feet of dipole in the air, I would suspect would be a lot harder than getting 148 feet of end-fed half-wave in the air. I've got 135 feet of end-fed half-wave above my house, and there's just 2 points. So it's pretty easy. So I don't know. Maybe I would say end-fed half-wave still. A dipole is a quieter antenna, if that matters to you. So, how long can we beat this to death? Okay, so now regarding the wire, you say you want to use the G90 or your 6100 with the internal tuners. You really like the BNTech Go 28 gauge silicone wire, but you're concerned about the tensile strength for the longer antennas. I also have 22 gauge of the same product, but if I can get away with a thinner option, I'd love to go that direction. I'm pretty sure you mentioned 30 gauge silicone coated wire. So I do not prefer BNTech Go wire as antenna wire. I have it on one antenna only because it came with that wire. I prefer either soda beams, the yellow high vis. They're back ordered right now at the time of filming. I like the yellow 26 gauge soda beams wire, or I like the 26 gauge poly stealth wire that I think is also back ordered right now. The BNTech Go is fine wire though. I don't know its strength, but I'll tell you, I don't know the strength of the soda beams wire either. I have never, ever broken an antenna wire out in the field. If you're breaking your wires, you're doing something wrong. There's really not a lot of strain put on them unless you're trying to hang off of them. So I would say knock yourself out. The 28 gauge I've not used, but I don't see that being much of a big deal. Check the tensile strength with it. I don't know. Run it through some tests. Pull on it. If you can just break it real easy with your hand, might not be the way to go. But I don't see any problems whatsoever with that gauge wire in my experience, and that's pretty much all I use. That's got soda beams, or excuse me, that's got poly stealth wire. That's got soda beams wire. Most all my other end-feds have one of those two wires, so that's what I'd rock with. The car antenna that I built has 22 gauge BNTech Go wire. It is BNTech Go, and that's just fine. So again, you're just gonna have to experiment. Honestly, I don't have those specific answers, and I don't know how. I'm not gentle with my stuff. And if I haven't broken anything, I don't think you're going to break it either. So, how's that for a long answer? Have we Rambled on long enough. And guys, put your comments in here. What do you think about this question? What do you think about the wire in your experience? I don't care what your opinions are. Let's hear what your experiences are, your actual real-world experiences. Drop them in the comments. I would love to read them, and I'm sure this viewer would love to read them too, because this is not just me answering questions. If we can get the community involved in a group discussion, it's always helpful. So great question. Thanks for writing in, and go build 4 frickin' antennas, man. And that is going to wrap up another episode of K8MRD Radio Stuff's Mailbag Monday. I want to remind you, if you have a question for me, shoot me an email, k8mrd@icloud.com, and in the subject, just put Mailbag Monday, so I can see that it is, in fact, a question for Mailbag Monday. Because if it's not, I don't put them in Mailbag Monday. Maybe I just type an answer and email it to you. Maybe I could ignore it completely. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at K8MRD, and we will see you again on another episode of K8MRD Radio Stuff. 73, guys.